There you go. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Do I look wonderful and beautiful? Okay, you don't have to answer that. Good morning. Okay, so this morning we're going to do several different things because I get really bored if I do one thing for an hour and a half. We are going to, first of all, define what rhythm and beat are to solidify that for your midterm. Second thing we're going to do is we are going to go over your first micro-teaching. Okay? And I gave you an example of that on Wednesday with the Queen Caroline poem, which we're going to rehash here in a second. Except I want to take you through step by step exactly what I want from you for your first micro-teaching. You don't have to write anything down yet. Okay? And the third thing that we're going to do is we're going to start playing the recorder this morning. So I hope you brought your recorder. Does everyone have a recorder? Does anyone not have a recorder? Wow. Okay. There's a bucket O recorders over here that have been used. And if you forget your recorder, that's what you get to use. I have some sanitizing stuff for them, so just don't forget your recorder, okay? So if you will please put your teacher hat on for a second, okay? And so if you were to describe beat versus rhythm, how would you do that? So talk about that with your neighbor really quick. How would you describe beat versus rhythm? Because sometimes a beat can be a rhythm, right? All right, so talk about that with a neighbor really quick. Okay, so what did we come up with? What did you talk about? Somebody, some brave soul this morning at 8:03. Please tell me what you were talking about with your neighbor.
You said the beat is more steady and constant, and the rhythm like accentuates that or accompanies it.
Okay, so I don't want you to think about an accompaniment figure for rhythm versus beat.
Okay.
Okay, so the beat is consistent typically. Can that beat change?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it can if I want to speed up or slow down the music, right? So the beat can change. What about the rhythm? What is a rhythm? What is rhythm? Question mark. People are still trying to answer that, right? What is it? I'm getting a confused look over here. So
Play one, but
okay, play one for me.
it.
Play one. Here's the beat.
Like a beat, okay.
Here's the beat. Ready, go.
Like something, right?
Yeah, that's a rhythm. Why is that a rhythm versus a beat? Okay, it can change. It's not as consistent as that beat.
It's like faster. Would it typically be faster?
It doesn't have to be faster. Here's my beat, and I can also say what? Ta, 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 right? I can have a rhythm that's on the beat, but there's two separate things. The beat drives the rhythm, right? Yes? So can a beat be a rhythm? Only in one instance, right? If that rhythm is on the beat. But typically it is not all the time. A lot of the times when we do that, like Queen Caroline poem, Queen Caroline, we had Queen was on the beat or off the beat? On the beat. So that's in a case where a rhythm is on the beat. So the rhythm and the beat are the same. What about Caroline? Cara is what? On and off the beat, right? So that's a rhythm, an example of a rhythm that doesn't have to line up with that steady beat. So if I did this, keep this beat with me. Keep that going, don't get faster, and I go. So I had one beat that was on, one rhythm that was on the beat, right? The rest were off the beat, okay? So please don't get confused. Beats are not twice, rhythms are not twice as fast as beats. That's not how you describe them. A beat is consistent and drives the rhythm. What does your textbook say, anybody, about rhythm? Does anybody know? Okay, so if I say that rhythm and beat are two separate things, what can I say about beat? You said something about it stays consistent, right? So can we say that it organizes the rhythm? Yeah? Does that make sense? It's like an organizational tool. So all rhythm is are organized sounds in time. And that beat provides that time frame for us. Okay? That's a really nice definition of rhythm. If you would like to put that on your midterm, you would be 100% correct. It is organized sounds in time. And the beat provides that time frame, typically. All right? And you'll talk about this later on in the class. If you want to write it down now, that's fine. If you don't, that's also fine. So, anybody seen my water? Because I can't find it. Yes, ma'am.
You said, and the beat provides what?
The beat provides that like framework for the rhythm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So it's organized sound in time. That's what a rhythm is. And the beat provides the framework for that. So keep in mind that beat and rhythm are two separate things. I'm going to repeat this over and over and over again. Beat and rhythm are two separate things. Typically, a rhythm is not the beat of the music. It can be if the beat is the steady beat, if the rhythm is the steady beat. Okay? Can you please give me a thumbs up if that is a concept that you understand and you could talk about with somebody? Okay? So yes, thumbs up, thumbs down, no, maybe, sort of. Are you thumb wrestling? Okay. Yeah. All right. So rhythm is an organization of musical sounds in time, and the beat provides the framework of the time. Okay? All right, so let's talk a little bit about your first micro-teaching. So you are going to be teaching a rhythmic poem with a partner for the class. Okay? So I will give you a list of rhythmic poems, and you will go onto Blackboard, and you will sign up with your partner for the one that you want, and if somebody's already taken that, you have to find another. Okay? Typically these poems are 16 beats long, sometimes more, sometimes less. Okay? They're very easy. Queen Caroline was a really great example of the thing that I want you to do for your first micro-teach. So let's talk about the steps. So take your teacher hat off and put your student hat on, please. So repeat after me, please. Queen, Caroline.
Queen, Caroline.
Is that the way I'm repeating it? Or I'm saying it? Queen, Caroline.
Queen, Caroline.
Washed her hair in turpentine.
Washed her hair in turpentine.
Queen, Caroline. Washed her hair in turpentine.
Queen, Caroline. Washed her hair in turpentine.
Turpentine to make it shine.
Turpentine to make it shine.
Queen, Caroline.
Queen, Caroline.
Turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Caroline.
Turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Caroline.
Queen Caroline washed her hair in turpentine. Turpentine to make it shine. Queen Caroline.
Queen, Caroline. Washed her hair in turpentine. Turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Caroline.
Again, Queen.
Caroline. Washed her hair in turpentine. Turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Caroline.
Thumbs up if you can do that. Okay, that's the first part of your micro-teach. Teacher hat back on. What did I do?
You demonstrated
Okay, so I demonstrated what?
the beat and you said the words to us.
How did I say the words?
You enunciated.
I did enunciate them, but there's a very specific phrase that I want you to use. I said them how? Liz?
Call and response?
It's not typically a call and response. Okay, it's just a direct, it's echo imitation, not call and response. Don't get me confused. Call and response is like, hey Liz, how are you? I'm fine, Chris. Okay, so it's like two different musical phrases that can complement one another versus an exact repetition. Okay? So it's echo imitation. So what I've done is I've systematically introduced each line of the poem line by line, right? How? What is it?
Echo imitation.
Echo imitation. When I do something and then you do something. You can also have simultaneous imitation, and we'll talk about that later on this semester, where I start to do something and you just follow me, right? This is how students learn. Did I say, Gabby, today we are going to learn a rhythmic poem called Queen, Queen, Caroline. I would like for you to echo me and then respond. Did I give explicit instruction? No. I just dived right into the lesson. Please don't take up my time or your students' time giving unnecessary instructions. They'll figure it out. That's the beauty of teaching. This is the art of teaching now. You don't have to sit there and tell them exactly what they're going to be doing step by step by step by step by step. Just dive right into it. If you need to explain later, that's great. Okay, so I introduced the poem line by line. How? In what? In phrases. How? What kind of phrases? Okay, so I did a 4-beat phrase, and then I did the second 4-beat phrase, and then I did what with those two phrases? Put them together. So there's 4 different parts to the poem, right? So I did the first part, repeat, second part, repeat, first and second part, repeat, third part, repeat, fourth part, repeat, third and fourth part, repeat, and then I put the whole thing together, and then you repeated it, and then we did it how? As a class. So how many different times did you say each line of that poem? At least probably 16, right? Maybe. Maybe 10, maybe 8, I don't know. But how did I do it? In what? I said the poem in what? We just talked about it, right? What? In rhythm. Thank you, Sarah. Yes. I said the poem in rhythm. Okay? So we have rhythmic poetry, and we also have non-metered poetry, right? So right now I'm talking in a non-meter. There's no rhythm to my words. I'm just speaking. So if I did Queen, Queen, Caroline washed her hair in turpentine, that would be a non-metered version of this poem, correct? I said this in rhythm, accompanied by a steady beat, which is what I want you to do with your partner. Okay? So you need to have some kind of systematic introduction of the poem. Here's the deal. Whenever you micro-teach, you're going to be like, this is so boring, this is awful, because I feel like I've just seen this done a million times. Yes, you're going to have it, like you're going to see everybody else do it. But this is good teaching, okay? So it's good practice for you to watch and to. So make sure that you're systematically introducing each line of the poem, okay? Yes? So here's the second part of your lesson, okay? Once they've learned the poem, there must be some kind of experiential part to the lesson, okay? Next week we're going to talk about experiential learning. And here's just a little tiny tidbit of what it is. They must have some part or portion of the lesson that they create themselves. Why do you think that's important?
Students value what they have input in.
Okay, so it allows them to take ownership of the lesson, to make it personal, right? What else?
It helps them remember better.
It helps them remember better because what?
They're making it up themselves.
They're making it up themselves, right. So not only does it help you, but it also helps them. My big word for learning is called connection, okay? It's just connecting what you know to what you need to know. That's my job, right? So if I can make those personal connections in every single lesson, you're going to be able to remember content better and actually learn and not just memorize, regurgitate, forget, which is kind of the model, I feel, for a lot of college classes, right? We've all done that. I did that yesterday. I memorized for a test, I took the test, and I totally forgot what happened. Yeah? We've all done that before? That's not good teaching, because you're not making connections with content. I'm not saying you're going to remember everything, but it should be a goal for you. Okay, so here's the second part of the lesson. So I've already introduced the poem, it took about 2 minutes, right? So I need for you to please stand up. All right, and let's have, hold on, freeze, sorry, my bad. Hold up this number. 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. Okay, can I have 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s? And please get there in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job, thank you. Your job is to, I need for you to use pats or snaps or claps, all right? And come up with a rhythmic body percussion part for Queen, Queen, Caroline, okay? So you need to come up with a body percussion for Queen, Queen, Caroline using claps, pats, or snaps, all right? What's going to happen in this poem? What parts are the same and what parts are different? We learned about this on Wednesday. 1 and 4 are the same, and 2 and 3 have the same rhythm, correct? So I need for you, would it be better to have the same body percussion for 1 and 4 and 2 and 3? Or would it be better to have 4 different types of body percussion? What do you all think? Why would you say 1 and 4 need to be the same? Because they are the same rhythm. And 2 and 3 probably need to be the same because they are also the same rhythm. Okay? So figure that out. And pats, claps, or snaps, please. I'll give you about 1 minute to do that. Go. Play the rhythm, not the beat. Play the rhythm, not the beat. I would just use one part like one. Okay, you can do that. That's good. So clean, careful. Okay, good. Watch her. Careful. Yes. Okay. We good? Are we good? Are we good? Yes? How are we doing over here? All right, let's have a group rehearsal. Everyone rehearse at once. Here we go. 1, 2. Yes? We good? Okay, let's have a group rehearsal then. 1, 2, and ready, go. Time to make it shine. Cool, we're gonna have a round robin. Here we go. Starting over here. 1, 2, and ready, go. And go. Queen, Queen, Caroline.
Wash your hair in turpentine. Turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Queen, Caroline.
And go.
Queen, Queen, Caroline. Wash your hair in turpentine. Turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Queen, Caroline.
And go. Queen, Queen.
Wash your hair in turpentine. Turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Queen, Caroline.
Do it again. 2, and ready, go.
Queen, Queen, Caroline. Wash your hair in turpentine. Turpentine to make it shine.
Remember that. Ready, go. Queen, Queen.
Caroline. Wash your hair in turpentine. Turpentine to make it shine. Queen, Queen, Caroline.
And go. And go. And stop. Good. Do yours one more time. 1, 2, and ready, go.
Queen, Queen, Caroline. Wash your hair in turpentine.
Why is theirs different than everyone else's here?
The second and third are different.
The second and third are different. They chose to play it differently. Okay? So if I were to grade this as a music instructor, which I'm not, okay, please don't think, would I say they knew what the rhythm is?
No.
They did know what the rhythm is. Would I say that they had drawn the conclusion that the second and third part are the same, though?
No.
No, because the second and third part you chose to play it differently. Does that make sense? So make sure that your students are being consistent about that stuff, So let's have one whole group performance, and we will be done. Okay? One, and you can just do it the way you want it to, because later on in the class it's not going to matter. So, all right, we'll go all through like body percussion stuff. Here we go, group performance. 1, 2, and ready, go.
Clean, clean, Caroline, wash your hands, clean, clean, Caroline.
And stop. Okay, I'm now going to, so that's about 5 minutes, right, of the lesson. Think about that. That's only really 5 minutes of the lesson. So you repeated it back to me, the whole thing, and then I made you make up body percussion for that. Yes? Repeat after me. Hair. Wash it, make it shiny.
Hair, wash it, make it shiny. Hair, wash it, make it shiny. Hair, wash it, make it shiny. Hair, wash it,
Caroline, with your
make
body
it
percussion.
shiny.
Clean, clean, Caroline.
Wash your hair and shiny. Hair and country, wash it, make it shiny.
Hair. Wash it,
make it shiny. Hair, wash it,
1,
make
2,
it
clean, Caroline, go.
shiny.
Clean, clean.
Wash it, make it shiny. Hair and country, wash it,
1,
make
2,
it
ready,
shiny.
stop. Have a seat. So how did the second part of the lesson go? And I asked you to repeat the what? What do we call that second part? The ostinato, which is what? A repeated
An accompanying rhythm.
rhythmic figure that is used to accompany something. Okay? And I have a really good example of that later on. Actually, we can probably do that right now, if I have. Let me get this warmed up first. If I can find it. So a repeated rhythmic pattern that is used to accompany something. And you hear it in music all the time, especially pop music. Especially really bad pop music, okay? Or really popular pop music, should I say. Because I really like really bad pop music, honestly. Why is this not working? The definition of ostinato is a repeated rhythmic pattern that is used to accompany something. And that's a rhythmic ostinato. Later on in class, you're going to hear a melodic ostinato right now. But keep in mind that a melodic ostinato just has pitch to it. It's not just purely rhythm, okay? So talk me through the steps for teaching a rhythmic poem to the class, your first micro-teach.
Teach the poem.
So teach the poem, have a systematic introduction of each line, right, in rhythm, and then put it all together. What's the next step?
The experiential learning.
The experiential learning part. And you can do that with the rhythmic poem, or you can do that with the ostinato. It doesn't matter to me, okay? If you choose to teach an ostinato. You don't have to. Why is this not working? There we go.
Going to be assigning us poems, or
Yes and no. What's going to, who is talking to me?
me?
Okay, thanks, Sarah. So what I'll have is a list on Blackboard, and you will figure out with your partner, when that time comes, which poem you would like to do, and then you'll go on Blackboard and post a discussion forum, in the discussion forum, saying Sarah and Dylan, and in the title of your thread that you create, you'll say Peace Porch Hot or something, or Up Like a Rocket, or whatever. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I have a question. Will you provide us with like the rhythm? Or
No.
we make that up ourselves?
You make that up yourself.
Okay.
Okay? And so, and remember, we're going to talk about that here in a second, how to figure that out. Okay, but I wanted to give you this example. If I can find it.
Hey Chris,
Yes.
on our syllabus, I believe it says that we need to go to one concert review, is that correct?
Correct.
Well, on the concert review information sheet, like on Blackboard, it says 2.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Unless you want to do 2.
No.
Okay, I can't find the example. I'm awful. I'll find it later. So, anyways, you've heard that song All About That Bass, Meghan Trainor. It's really fun. But she did that with Jimmy Fallon and the Roots on Classroom Instruments, which is really cool, which I saw this morning. And it's been stuck in my head all morning long. And you'll notice that he pushes a little button on a machine that just provides a loop. It's a looping machine. And you hear like bump beep, bump beep, bump beep, bump bump beep, bump beep, bump beep, bump that plays throughout the entire piece. It's a repeated rhythmic figure that's used to accompany the song. That's what an ostinato is. Go look it up on Facebook. I'm sure it's all over your Facebook. Yes?
Can there be multiple ostinatos?
Yes, you can layer so many ostinatos.
I didn't know if like it was just, you just get the one and that's it.
No.
Because I assume most music probably like
It does.
depending
And
on
they can
what
stop
the
and start in certain
instrument is.
parts.
Like
The-
the drums would repeat one and then the guitar would repeat another.
Right, yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this poem. Sorry, Morgan.
Yeah, you're fine.
So I have got.
That marker board is scary.
Yeah, it's awful. But we have a $7,000 drum set. Oh, I can't spell very well, so if I misspell something, I'm sorry. Okay, so here's the first part of the poem, correct? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to figure out how to say this correctly? I could go by the syllables. Okay? And remember that we learned a little bit, let's review a little bit about rhythm first. So, oh, I shouldn't have done that, that was stupid. It's okay. So we know that this is a what? We can call that several different things, right? Walk, 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 walk. Ring a bell? Or we can also call it what? Ta. Can we say that too? Ready, go. Good, and we know that these can have feet on them, right? Do I need to have feet on them? Not yet. Until we get, when we combine these two things, they make a different note that's worth 2 beats, right? And we call it a ta-ah, but it has an open circle. And we might learn about that today. Who knows? Okay? So, and I also have tiptoes, right? And it's called a beam. These are beams so that they're easier to read. Because one tiptoe by itself looks like this. With a flag off of it. It's just easier to read right now if we beam them together. Okay? Can you please read this for me? 1, 2, and ready, go. We say tiptoes this time? And remember that these can have feet too. Feet. Really? Little feetses. I turn into Gollum for a second. 2, and ready, go. Tiptoe, 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 tiptoe. Walk, 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 walk. Tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe. Good. Will you zoom in on this for me, please? I'm sorry, Morgan. Will you be my videographer? And it's on the top. Yes.
How
So
close?
they can see my beautiful face and the board.
Okay, it doesn't see, like,
What?
if I zoom that close in, it won't, like, it's down on the bottom of the board.
Oh, well,
Do you want me to hold it?
Yeah. That's awful. It'll be okay. We'll figure it out. You can probably do this too. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, there we go. Am I still in the frame?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of? Which way do I need to go?
No, like it's like right here on you.
Oh, well,
Move it, not
Yeah, move it up.
Like, just do this here. God, I'm gonna break it. No, okay, never mind.
it's okay. I can edit all this stuff out. It's wonderful. Thank God.
That's not
Hold on for a second.
going too well for you.
And thank you all for being so agreeable to this, because
It's kind of creepy
what?
that they like watch us.
They don't watch you, they watch me, which is creepy enough.
And then they get to see us like running around in like circles.
They just see your back. They don't, I mean, I've watched the video. I'll give you access to the video if you really want it. Okay, so can we please say walk and tiptoes? 1, 2, and ready, go.
Walk, 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 walk. Tiptoe, 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 tiptoe.
Good. And we can also call them something else, right? So these are tas and these are TTs. 1, 2, and ready, go. Ta.
Ta, 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 T, 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 T.
Good. So I can mix these up, right? Maybe, if my board stays still. I'm not going to put the feetses on them. I'm just going to draw the beans. 1, 2, and say that, go.
Ta, T, T, ta, ta.
Look again. 1, 2, and ready, go.
Ta, T, T, ta, ta.
Okay? So I can also switch them up. I also have this little squiggle thing, right? Which is what? Called a rest or a shh. Doesn't matter. Okay. All right? And that is 1 beat of silence. This equals 1 beat, just like the ta equals 1 beat. Okay? So here's the instance where the rhythm is the what? Is the beat. This rhythm is not the beat. I fit 2 T's into 1 beat. So each T gets how much of the beat? Half and half equals 1 whole beat. So here we go, and I can do this right here. 1, 2, and read both lines. Ta.
T, T, ta, 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 sh. T, T, ta.
Easy? Yes? You can't see, I'm sorry. Let's go over here. Yay! 1, 2, and ready, go. Ta.
T, T, ta, 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 sh. T, T, ta.
And you can say rest. Typically what I do is this, if I'm having them clap that, like students clap this out. Ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ta. Can we try that? Where what happens on the rest? We have a true moment of silence. So I always make sure that their hands are apart. 1, 2, and clap that, go. You're geniuses, thank you. Okay, so if I said clap the beat, what would you do? 1, 2, and ready, go. No, that's good, that's good. Yeah, let's try that again. Clap the beat. 1, 2, and ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the beat, right? Now clap the rhythm. 1, 2, and ready, go. Understand the difference between beat and rhythm now? Okay, so I give you the poem Queen, Queen Caroline, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening here? Okay, there's several different ways I can do this, all right? Some of them are right, some of them are wrong. Doesn't really matter how you do it as long as it's done in rhythm, okay? And you can teach a poem in rhythm to your students, and it doesn't have to be the same rhythm that I would choose, okay? So typically, rhythmic poems that I use for like kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, because I use them all throughout to teach different types of rhythm, okay? If a word has 1 syllable in it, I usually assign a ta to that, or a walk. Okay? And I can do the same thing here. What about Caroline? How many syllables does the word Caroline have in it? 3. And I'm going to say Carolyn or Caroline. I could do that too. Not exactly the best way to do it. So Caroline. Have you seen students clap out syllables of words? So, If I was doing Skylar would have 2 syllables in it. Caroline would have how many syllables? 3. So I don't have a note value that you've learned so far to cover 3 notes in one beat. Okay? So if I know that it has more than 2, it probably takes up more than 1 beat. Does that make sense? Okay. So this is how I got Queen, Queen, Caroline. T-T-Ta. Does that make sense? So this word is now worth how many beats? 2. But it has how many notes in it? 3. And that's the distinction between beat and rhythm. So how many beats long is this phrase? 4. 1 plus 1 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1 equals 4. Okay? I could switch this rhythm around, yes? And I could have Caroline. Yeah? Does that sound right? No. How do you say Caroline? Where is the emphasis at? On the beginning, middle, or end of the word? And the initial sound. And you'll hear reading instruction talk about initial and ending sound and middle sound. So the initial sound is stressed or has emphasis. So that's why I say T-T-Ta, because that's how I would say the actual name. Would I say Morgan? No, I would say Morgan, right? So that would be T-T. Yeah, and T-T. So washed her hair. Washed her hair in turpentine. How many syllables is this right here? Washed. 1. Yeah. Her. 1. Hair. 1. In. Turpentine. 3. Okay. Turpentine. How many beats now do I have this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there's 7 syllables in that line, right? Can I fit this line into 4 beats, just like the first one? I have to do that. I have to do that, okay? So I could say, washed her hair in turpentine. Does that sound right? Not quite. I could say, sorry, I'm in the way. I could say, washed her hair in turpentine. But that's how many beats? 7. So I've got to fit this in 4 beats. So that's why I'm going to use TTs in some parts instead of tas. Okay? So that's why it's washed her hair in turpentine. Does that make sense? So now how many beats do I have? 4. 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1 equals 4. I could say turpentine, yes? That's technically correct, but is that the way it sounds when you say turpentine? What part of the word gets the most emphasis? Turpentine. The initial and the ending, right? Turpentine. So turpentine. So that's why it's T-T-Ta. That way I have something at the beginning and right there.
So is that 7 beats then or 7 notes?
It is 7 notes. How many beats? 4 beats. That's the distinction. This is the rhythm of the words, not the steady beat. Okay? Washed her hair in turpentine. Please clap this rhythm with me. And remember, I can have little feetsies on here if I want to. But I don't. It doesn't matter. Clap the rhythm, please. 1, 2, and ready, go. Clap the rhythm. I'm clapping the steady beat. You clap the rhythm. 1, 2, and ready, go. Are we together? You all are speeding up. You're like ready to go. I'm surprised. It's only 8:40. Here we go. 1, 2, and ready again. Good. I'm going to clap the rhythm and you clap the steady beat. 1, 2, and ready, go. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. I was like, do you want us to clap what you've been clapping?
Yeah, my bad. Sorry. I made a point and now it's wrong, so thank you for letting me fix that. 1, 2, I'll clap the rhythm, you clap the steady beat. 1, 2, and for those of you that were clapping this correct rhythm, thank you. For those of you that were just going along, thank you too. So, 1, 2, and clap the steady beat. Clean, clean, hair all fine, wash your hair and turn. And this is how I know that the last part is the same, right? So now I can notate all of these different rhythms. Do you see how that works? So if I assign you a poem to choose with your partner, this is how you're going to figure it out. How do I notate this rhythm? Okay? So if I gave you this poem, you know, on the right bigger. Okay, so here are the words. Up like a rocket, down like a ray, back and forth like a choo-choo train. Okay? So I need for you to talk about with your partner how you would say this word, how you would say this poem to a steady beat. Try that out. Actually, you know what? Let's do some group now. Just kind of gather yourselves. So you four, you four, you four, you four, you four, 4, 3, and 3. So how would you say this poem? I'll give you a couple minutes to figure that out. Each phrase has 4 beats in it. I will give you that hint. Each phrase has 4 beats.
How does the last one do 4 beats?
We'll talk about it.
I say here. It's in between 2 parts. Yeah, I'm sitting in here now. Yeah.
And down like the rain, so if you walk next to the back and forth, like you walk next to the walk around.
What did you say?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear. That's really cool though. Where were you at? Oh, just wherever.
Okay, so what have you got? Let's start over here. Alex, Katie, and Megan. What do you want to come up with for the first line? What is it? I want you to say it like you would. Here's a steady beat. 1, 2, say it, go. Okay, did they have 4 beats there? What was their rhythm? What was your all's rhythm, Alex? Up like a rocket. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Is she correct? Up like a rocket. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Give me a thumbs up if you think she is correct. Okay, I would also give her a thumbs up. Okay? So, ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Did anybody else come up with something different? Up like a rocket. I said these 2 words in how many beats? 1, and I said this word in how many beats? 2. Who came up with, Caitlin? What did your group come up with down like the rain?
We did, ta, 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 ta.
Ta, 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 ta? Ta, 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 ta. Sure, we could do that. Up like a rocket, down like the rain. I could do that. Okay? What about the next one? It's the same as the first. Back, well you could do back and forth like you could do that. Back and forth like But remember, what happened up here with the word like It was a TT. If we try this down here, would that sound better? Back and forth like That sounds a little bit better to me. I don't know why I just did that. Oh, there's a chair back here, Sarah, if you want. It's right behind the camera. That's okay. So, yeah. No. Back and forth like And then, what did you come up with for the last phrase? Kelsey.
We did tall, 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 rest.
Tall, 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 rest. Okay. Chew, chew, trim. Rest.
Could you put the rest before it?
What?
Could you put the rest like before it?
I could have. Does that sound right though? When you say the third and fourth line. Back and forth like chew, chew, trim. Not quite. Yes, Sarah.
Would it be acceptable? We had it like back and forth like a choo-choo train.
Okay, you could do that.
That's like fun.
But are all the words? Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Typically, I would not do that for children, because what's going to happen? They're going to rush it. They're not going to wait that whole beat. Yeah, you as adults could go back and forth like a choo-choo train if you wanted to. Like you can make it really difficult, right? But I just try not to do that for children.
Okay.
So I would like to look at the third and the fourth line, please. I'll answer your question. 1, 2, and say it, go. Back and
forth like a choo-choo train.
Okay. Let's go read the whole poem down in exactly this rhythm. Okay? 1, 2, and ready, go. Up like a rocket, down like the rain. Back and forth like a choo-choo train. Does it sound okay? Down like the rain sounds really weird. Why, Elizabeth?
It's like too slow.
It's too slow. Okay. It doesn't really match what's happening. And do you see what's happening here? First and third or alike. Is there any way to make the last one and the second one very similar? Liz?
Down, like the rain, rest.
Okay, so if we did this,
So make it a TT and then make it a rest name.
make it a rest at the end. Let's read it that way and see if that makes a little bit more sense. Here we go. 1, 2, and ready, go.
Up like a rocket,
Down like the rain. Back and forth like a choo-choo train. Sound better? Does that sound better? Let's do that one more time in tas and ts. 1, 2, and ready, go.
ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ta. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ta, ta.
Sound good? Okay, so here's the second part of your micro-teaching if you choose to do it this way, which I would encourage you to do. The first way is fine, where you just teach an ostinato by rote and put it together. Make sure it fits. We're going to create an ostinato for this poem right now. Okay, and an ostinato is a repeated rhythmic figure that is used to accompany a poem or a song or whatever. It can be melodic or rhythmic, it doesn't matter. Okay? So here's what I really love doing whenever I'm a teacher, is I like taking words or ideas from students and incorporating that into my lesson as much as possible. So we're going to create a student-generated word list about this poem. So when you read this poem, what's the poem about? Give me some ideas, throw it out there.
Choo-choos.
Choo-choos, so trains, what else? Rockets. Those are all kind of modes of what? Transportation, so I can put transportation up here. What else is it about?
Direction.
Direction. You're in 2nd grade, what else is it about? What? Weather, so weather, yeah. I don't want to use the words that are in the poem, they have to be different, okay? Any other words that we could come up with about this poem? There's tons out there. Let's try some different syllable values. So give me some 1-syllable words, 3-syllable words, transportations, a 4-syllable word, which is really cool. So what other words can you think of about this poem?
Space.
Space, okay. What else?
Movement.
Movement. Okay, so this is okay. This is good for now. So here's what I'm doing. I'm thinking in my head, what's going to make a good ostinato? So here are the tricks to make a good ostinato. It has to have a rest, okay? It must repeat at least twice during the poem. Okay? And it's really good if it can be complementary, which means that the ostinato takes up some space that's left in the poem. So do you see these rests here? Those are going to be very important for the ostinato because I want to fill those rests in with the ostinato so it's complementary. We're making a cake here, okay? So these are my 4 layers. Does anybody bake in here? Okay. I bake a lot. I make cakes all the time. So I've got my 4 layers here. I typically don't do 4 layers because they're really hard to make stand up. But I want icing or some kind of filling in between each of these layers. So this is my layer of icing right here, my ganache, and icing again. Okay? So yeah, talk to me about that. It's really good. Does that make sense? So I'm going to make sure that that ganache takes up some of that room in between those 2 lines. Okay? So the last cake I did had Andy's chocolate mint ganache in between the chocolate mint cake. It was really good. Anyways, so let's see what else. So I want to take something up. So I know that my ostinato is going to be how many beats long typically? How many beats long can my ostinato not be? It cannot be 16. It has to be less than 16, right? And I have to be able to repeat it at least twice or else it's not an ostinato. Because it has to be repeated at least twice. So minimum, or maximum, my ostinato can only be how many beats long? 8 beats, right? I could have a 4-beat ostinato too. Let's try a 4-beat ostinato to see if we can make one up. So I know that the fourth beat in my ostinato has to have some kind of what?
Note.
Has to have some kind of notes in it so that it takes up this space here and here, right? Give me a thumbs up if you get that. My ostinato has to have, it needs to be complementary and take up some of these things, okay? And it also has to have a rest in it too, yes? So it needs to have a rest. So let's take some of these words. I'm going to take space because I know a good ostinato has a strong beat somewhere in it, and one-syllable words are really good for strong beats. What other word do you want to do? We can do a combination of 2 words, 3 words. What do you want?
Direction.
Direction. How many syllables does direction have in it? 3. Okay. So if I did space as the first one, what's the note value here? If I did space, what's the note value? Ta. Okay. Ta. Yeah? And then I need to have a rest somewhere in it. How many beats would direction take up?
2.
2. It would have 3 notes in it, but only 2 beats, remember? Because we don't know a note value that takes up 3 beats yet. We will, maybe later today. But it's going to be very strange, okay? So, where do you want the rest? Do you want space, direction, sh?
No.
Will that work?
No.
Because I need something to sound here. And I have to say the whole word, so I have to have the rest on the second beat. So space, sh, direction, space, sh, direction, space. Does direction sound good there? How do you say direction? Direction. So the middle beat's getting that emphasis there. So I typically would not pick a word that has an emphasis in the middle sound. Okay? You can, but it's going to sound kind of awful. Direction, direction, direction. Okay? See what I'm saying? So let's maybe pick a different word that would complement our ostinato. It would work.
Transportation.
Transportation. How many syllables does transportation have in it? 4. So if I did TT for transportation, and like transportation, most of the syllables get, they're not emphasized, not one over the other. So if I did transportation, transportation, would that work? Does it sound correct when I say transportation? Okay, so let's do that. So I've got space, transportation, space, transportation, space. How many beats long is that? 4. Good. Can we please try this ostinato with this poem? If your birthday is from January through July, please raise your hand. You are now the poem. If your birthday is August through December, you are now the ostinato. Okay? So let's start with the ostinato people. Space, transportation, space. And I can say sh if I want to, but I don't have to. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, and ready, go.
Space, transportation, space, transportation, space, transportation, space.
1, 2, and ready.
Transportation, space.
Up like a rocket, down like the rain.
Transportation, back and forth like a chase shoot.
Again, up.
Like a transportation, down like the transportation, back and forth like a chase shoot.
And switch. And now let's try it all together. So switch parts and we're going to start together. 1, 2, and ready, go.
Space like a transportation, down like the transportation, back and transportation, chase shoot.
And good. Stand up where you are, please. Yes. So here's what I need for you to do. Let's take, Megan, were you over here in this group earlier? And your ostinato was Queen, Caroline, wash your hair in turpentine? No? Wash your hair in turpentine. Okay, let's do, which ones are alike? Which lines are alike? The first and the third, oh, no. Let's go to the second and fourth, okay? They're basically the same thing, minus this little part right here. And these two things are very similar too, yes? Okay, so we're just switched around just a little bit. Or we could do 4 different levels. Try this with me. Up like a rocket, down like the rain.
Up like a rocket, down like a
Back and forth like a choo-choo train.
back and forth like a choo-choo train.
So I'm just following from the top down. Up like a rocket, down like a rain, back and forth like a choo-choo train. Got it? 1, 2, and try it. Go. Up
Like a rocket, down like a rain. Back and forth like a choo-choo train.
Good. Space. Transportation space. Transportation space. Okay, good. So first parts again. If you were in, Caitlin, will you move this way just a little bit, please? Thank you so much. You're wonderful. If you will please, if your birthday is January through July, you were the poem. August through December, you are now. Okay, got it? Okay, so let's try that. And get ready to switch as soon as I say switch. So we're going to do the poem twice, and then we'll switch parts, and then we'll do the poem twice again. 1, 2, and ready, go. Up
Like a rocket, down like a
transportation space.
back and
Transportation space.
choo-choo.
Transportation space. Transportation space. Transportation space. Transportation space. Shoot and switch and go. Up like a rocket. Down like a station space. Transportation space. Transportation space. Transportation down like a rain. Back and forth like a choo-choo stop. And then we're not going to end with that last transportation because we want to end together. Have a seat, please. Did that mess with your brain? Yes, I hope so. Good. That's great. I don't mind doing that. Okay, so any of those techniques that we talked about this morning, you can use in your first micro-teaching. Okay? So a student-generated word list is still an experiential part of a lesson because the students are creating that part. So they have ownership, even though I picked the words that sounded the best. Okay? And here's my teacher trick. I list the words, and I didn't do it so I could specifically call your attention to this. All the words were listed here, and typically I would go, okay, let's use transportation and space. That sounds really cool, right? They're like, yeah, because they came up with it. And I know that it's going to be a good ostinato. Teacher trick, okay? So let them do whatever they want within the context of your lesson, and then pick the ones that you know are going to be good, okay? So that everyone still can participate, right? At their own level, which is awesome. So, and then you can kind of differentiate for the entire class yourself. Okay. Sarah, if you will push stop on that, or pause or something.
Is it just this
the red button, I think. The red button.